friends, hope you are well. Long time no vlog. When you're watching this, I will be about to go on my library placement. But when I'm filming this, I've just started back for term 3 of my diploma, had my 5-week-ish kind of break. It was very creatively fulfilling. Did like 90% of the things I set out to do, the high success rate of which is definitely partly due to getting better at being really conservative and realistic with my ambitions for my free time. I got really into making dal. I made some retro pajama pants, read a lot, and I went to Canberra for 24 hours just for one night. I flew up to see my friend who's an actor, a one-woman play they're in. They live in Sydney, it's toured already, and it's never been on at a time where I can just pop up. So I was elated that it toured to Canberra and I could go up there. It was right at the end of the break and I was apprehensive of the toll plane travel would have on my body, but Canberra's like a 1-hour flight for those who don't know from Melbourne, and probably a good foray back into that mode of transport. I wore compression socks. My God, they make a difference. I really don't care that they're so ugly now. Sorry, I have compression stockings. So they're a little bit cuter, but they work. Them and compression shorts, and I pretty much didn't do anything else apart from like get myself there, eat, pace myself, see the play, spend quality time and then fly home. So it showed me that I can do plane travel, but yeah, definitely need to be sensible and schedule in like cushion time in all of it. It was very last minute, but you never regret showing up for someone in the way you really want to show up for them, and my friend is so good at what she does, and the play was extraordinary, and I was just like the happiest person to have like over an hour of your friend doing what they do. I'm sure many people who are creative here relate to that phenomena. It's just like, wow. Over the break, it was one of my goals to plan ahead a bit content wise. Like I filmed and shot 3 recipes for my next like newsletters, which is free to sign up to if you want to. It's where I just like share the monthly recipe that I post to my website, what I've been cooking, what I've been reading, watching, just like life update, nice old school blog format, 1 email a month. So I'm good for that through to September. I did a lot of short form content prep and then didn't really get ahead on YouTube, but after this vlog, who knows what I'll be posting for the rest of this term. But I think it was spending so much time thinking about content and social media that made me go a little cuckoo. I'm full of self-doubt. Like, I've been really frustrated with my YouTube game this year. I think that's changed a bit with the last couple of videos, but I still feel my standard recently has been so hit and miss. I think it's just because I'm studying, so I don't have that extra bit of time to really fully execute an idea in its completeness. I feel like with thumbnails, they've just gone down the drain this year. Yeah, I was much more top to toe, really executing a well thought out in every department. At least the planned videos were that last year, but I've got to cut myself some slack around that. It's still been fine. If the standard's a little patchy, whatever, that's honest. And I think setting a standard for myself on here, which is always ticking all the boxes that I set out to do, would just make me not have a good relationship to this, even though I always want to sprinkle in some vlogs that are more off the cuff. But it is interesting to have been on here for, I don't know, like 10 years now, to only have grown like a bigger audience in the last year, though I've been so grateful and loved this corner of the internet that we've created for all of that. But the audience has definitely changed, and I notice that, and I notice viewers in general, maybe it's just me, but the way we engage is very different. Like, people used to comment more and send you DMs on Instagram in response to your stories and just be more personable in the past, and maybe that comes with getting a bigger platform. People don't just write something and send it because it's what your story made them think of. But yeah, it feels like it's like as the numbers have grown, connection has definitely changed. And as I've posted more about accommodations and learnt that I'm neurodivergent and that's become part of my content, that's then attracted a lot of people with that life experience, which is awesome. But it is odd because I remember like the regular commenters from like when I was at uni, and I don't forget usernames. I mean, I remember what they were called, but I don't forget like people's faces and ways of writing. And I miss some people's thoughts and insights. I guess I was just reflecting on how I can connect more in a way that actually feels good on here. I do wonder why I spend so much time on TikTok. Otherwise, I love editing a video, really do, as well as like applying sociological eyeballs to social media and just like analyze how people are using it. But in Australia, it's not like you can't earn money from it, from this creator fund, is it called? That exists in the US, like YouTube, where you can earn money on your videos, which I didn't always think this way because I only monetized my videos like a couple of years ago, if that. Yeah, I think it is good to compensate your creative output, Phoebe. But TikTok's a weird one because in terms of the cookbook, it was a huge part of the marketing. It is so specific and effective at reaching audiences you intend to meet. And there's so many important questions to be asking with the ethical, moral. Does it even align with your values? Not really, but does anything in this world completely? No. Yeah, and then I think about how I've changed in showing up on here. Like when I was doing my undergrad, I wasn't seeing a therapist. So I would say a lot of what I was learning and finding interesting, but I think, and I'm not going back to fact check myself on this, but I'm very confident I was also saying like a lot more thoughts, feelings and frustrations and like things I was realizing about myself. Whereas now I sort of just like have an avenue for that flows over into healthy chats with friends, and I like forget, I think, but also I'm happy to be more boundaried on here. What else was on my mind about this topic? This is turning into a bit of a rant. Oh yeah, and I was getting very down in the break about my way of speaking. I read an article about how we're all speaking less every year, especially young people. And I was like feeling the weight of that not great sounding statistic. There are not super chatty genes in my family. I am probably one of the more chattier when I want to be, but I can also be very silent. And I think going out into the world, I appear more shy. Unless we're like great pals, then we won't be shutting up. Although it might appear on here because of editing and me talking to camera, blah, 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 like that I chat. I really struggle to talk about things on the fly that I haven't thought about a little bit beforehand. I was getting very down on myself about that and was like, maybe that's why people don't connect in the same way or as they used to on social media, or I don't know, just pinpointing every potentially bad performance indicator, my online presence on the way I speak. And then I think on the nighttime routine video, there were some comments on like that the way I speak or explain things is very soothing or helpful. And I was like, shut up, baby. And also I come to realize that I have a very expressive way of speaking where my like tone goes up and down, use a lot of facial expressions. And that's not tradition, and it's not corporate, and it's not what this world like rewards most freely and is the most easiest to navigate life with, but it's original. And I think when people do connect with you, they do really connect with you over that because it really holds them with what you're saying, like really takes them on a journey. And the people who get that, get that. Today I was learning about how you construct Dewey Decimal numbers, and I was concentrating very hard. Consequently, I hold a lot of tension and hold my breath, and now I'm like way more symptomatic POTS-wise, which is just fun. I really hate that correlation, like intellectual focus worsens POTS symptoms. I don't know if anyone else can relate. Anyway, I did have a good nap, but it's so different having naps like during term time where it's like the stakes are a lot higher. The pressure for them to like actually be effective has some psychological influence that makes them not as effective, I swear. Anyway, I wanted to talk books. I just finished The Giver on the weekend. It's a YA because I'm doing my bit and trying to be across a bit more YA since I work in a middle upper school library. Utopian but actually dystopian book that I'd say the Divergent series is kind of, it's not related, but it's a similar kind of world building concept in that choice is taken away from people. People have roles, and those that maybe don't fit in or don't agree with the system might be responsible for bringing it down. I don't know much about this author, just that she often writes about human connection. There's a 2014 Meryl Streep movie which looks like trash, And this book's really beautiful, gripping, page-turnery. It is like one that I don't think needs to be made into a movie. That's one of my Subway hot takes. Like, just don't try with like fantasy dystopian stuff, because there's so much humanness that it actually is quite awkward that works on the page, and I don't think it needs to be made doable for screen. Like, there is stuff that just can be non-plausible anywhere outside of your imagination, which is versed with implausibility because it dreams. The screen and like Hollywood, at least when they're like going for like a blockbuster hit. If you're going for like an A24 indie thing, then maybe you could do it, but And then I read Colin Morgan, who played Merlin in the Merlin TV show, which of course I watched because I have a dog called Merlin, so I love him. This is his debut book. He's Northern Irish and he loves the coming of age genre, he said in interviews. Feels like that's relatable throughout the lifespan because we're always coming of age, but it follows a boy called Brendan telling the story of his final year of school and his best friend Ronan McCoy. They are very close. Ronan McCoy has like social ease at school, he's like quite good at everything, quite sporty but humble and liked by everyone. And the narrator, like main protagonist Brendan, a bit more awkward, really relies on Ronan for a lot and what happens to his best friend over the summer and that they navigate together throughout the school year forces Brendan to really grow up quite fast, and it's so heartbreaking but it's so hopeful and beautiful. The characters jump off the page. It's like post-Troubles Northern Ireland, which I have not read, embarrassingly, many books set in that period. I've read a lot of reviews about this while I was forming my opinion because the disability representation, I was like, did he do his due diligence? But he did, I'm pretty sure. Some people criticise that the main character, like they're in their final year of school, they sound a bit younger. And yeah, it's probably not that most plausible since working in a boys' school, but I don't really care. And I don't think it matters. Like, maybe the main character is just kind of a bit more gentle and that wholesome, you know? It's thick, but you don't want it to end. It really stays with you. One of my faves from the year. And my latest read is a new release. I don't know if anyone watched. It was so like formative to me. Rachel Khoo had that Little Paris Kitchen show. I don't know how global of a thing that was. Like, she's been a MasterChef chef judge and done lots of things, but this is essentially a memoir from that period. And yeah, I watched that growing up and was like I'm gonna be like her when I'm older. I'll have a shoebox apartment, but I'll be living the dream. But I'm sure many people fell in love with her. And it was essentially like a YouTube channel concept, really. Yeah, I find it a bit meta that they've made the book super small and then the font stupidly small. It's like, we get it. It was a little Paris kitchen.
What can you say when love goes away that hasn't been said before? I have no rhyme that's different this time. There's no words to sing anymore. I haven't a clue why you went away. I only know you are gone. And
I'm not feeling great this week. When am I feeling great in the middle of the week? I just cannot pace myself, and it feels like I'm not built for the 7-day work week because I always view Monday to Friday as like something to get through, and I just really struggle to pace myself, especially in the first 3 days. Yeah, much more symptomatic this week, but I'm almost relieved when my body feels a bit fatigued, like it forces me to move slower because I'm really good now at listening to that. And I'm like, thank you, like you're actually making it easier for me to move at the pace I need to move at. Not that I enjoy feeling like that, but it's the bit before then where I'm like psychologically so over it, but the physical symptoms haven't kicked in yet. That is so hard to navigate. 2 parcels just arrived. Let's open. I got some new earbuds and they're hollow. Let's see. It's not that I don't like loops. I'm like, I wear these all the time, but I'm not wearing my noise cancelling headphones. But they do come out and like stick out a bit when you've been chatting and like moving your jaw. If there's something even more discreet, like hell yeah. I can't really tell now what the difference is between these and those. I guess the risk is they're like even less effective than these, and honestly these are like the most minimal loops, and I wish there was like a step up that still blocked the same low noises and tones. We'll report back on these, but definitely discreet. Okay, they look teeny tiny. I did measure my calf size, but these are compression calf sleeves, so not socks. aka hopefully I can wear these and then like the space around your ankle is uncovered and I can wear normal socks, you know, just another option, because I am finding, especially for working in the library, standing up more, driving, I notice on the plane, like, my goodness, yeah, compression in the lower half of your leg really adds an extra layer of help for helping with circulation, making you feel more awake, but also for like joint pain the next day. Huge. I went op shopping on the weekend. I love when op shops are open on a Sunday. Like, that's the perfect day for me to like be in the mood and actually enjoy that activity. But I had really good luck at finding some more things to wear that's workwear applicable, including some black pants that are like smart, but working in a public library, I know the dress code's pretty chill. There's not that much distinguishing the people who work there versus the people who come in. I think they say like smart casual, but at least like where the library is that I'm doing it, I think it's quite cash. So I wanted to like have a few more options that aren't super smart, because the library I'm working at versus placement is really strict on like looking professional. But I'll have to show you what I got later because a lot of it's just being washed and is wet. In the process of like building up my possibilities for workwear, I've learnt a little bit about options, and amazing follower messaged me and mentioned 2 organisations in Australia. I'll put their names on the screen and you can approach them, and they get really high quality donations from like Melbourne Fashion Week and smaller brands, and donations from the public to have like this really well curated workwear specific like op shop, and you can get a capsule wardrobe from them. It was when I was complaining about shoes and like I really want a pair of work shoes that are lighter than my Doc Marten Mary Janes, which I love, but size too big, very heavy, not the most comfortable. They support women and non-binary people entering the workforce in other ways as well as clothing, but I didn't really feel like I could justify approaching them, especially because I didn't really want, or I don't know, didn't really feel like I needed a whole capsule wardrobe. So then I actually approached a small Melbourne-based shoe company, I'm sure you've heard of them, called Radical Yes, explaining that like I'd love to shout them out. I've known about them for ages. They specialise in very original, creative flats, and they said absolutely, we'd love to gift you a pair. And I was like, hell yeah! So they very kindly gifted me a pair of their Maya lace-ups, and they come with 2 different laces, plain black, but I decided to put these speckled ones in, and they're light, and they're supportive, and just way more interesting than, I don't know, quote-unquote professional workwear, which is so hard to feel like you. But what I'm kind of realising is that it does feel like putting on a costume, so I do sort of lean into that and wear quite stylized clothes, I guess. I'm very particular in like what I like for everyday wear. So when I'm looking at professional clothes which still feel like me, I'm going to the funky end of the spectrum, like Parisian chic, bold stripes, but still in professional cuts. I love that these also have a wide toe. That reminds me, I need to strap my foot before my shift. I'm not a big fan of this get ready at midday thing, like get dressed professionally after you've lived half a day, worn a different outfit. Also, can someone tell me, like, if you're already cleansed, put sunscreen on, done skincare that morning, like, should you be cleansing again and starting again from scratch, like at 1 o'clock, if that's when you're getting ready to go to work? Or do you just like add on top of? I went to a dermatologist maybe like 6 weeks ago now. This was for eczema. You might have seen like I had a bit of a spot on my cheek, and that was like scary as, because 10 years ago, I don't know if there are any videos on this channel that I kept up where it's visible, but I had a massive ever-growing weepy eczema situation on my cheek and didn't get onto it very early. Super embarrassing, not handled well, but it was very noticeable. I'm like, I'm not going down that road again. Yeah, amongst their slew of super expensive suggestions, I was like, I'll just start with the skincare because I know my routine needs better products in it. I don't know anything. And then we can get to your treatment suggestions that rack up to like 4 figures later. Probably never. But 2 things that I'm like, holy moly, this has helped, is B3 and B5 serums do really help. Oh my god, they're everywhere. Just check like if there's a fragrance on it, because you might react to that if you have sensitive skin. And then they did explain a really helpful thing, that zinc sunscreen is much more gentle on eczema prone skin than mineral based sunscreen. It like sits on the surface of your skin, and this is the like most bougie sunscreen ever. I won't be purchasing this thing again because it's like 120 Australian dollars probably. Maybe I should look for it on like Black Friday sales or something, but the product's called Uber Zinc. It smells like a terry chocolate orange. It's so decadent and it's so soothing and it's so thick, and you're like, wow, I can feel the relief as soon as I put it on. It's not very high SPF, but she explained it's like a European standard and Australian standards are really strict, so even though it only says it's 15 SPF, she was like, I'm confident it's at least 30. And like those two products alone definitely have helped. Like it's not completely gone, but it's like shrunk. And now I just have eczema issues on other parts of my body. Yay. Oh my god, it smells so yummy. It's times like these I really wish I had a big sister who could just be like, do this for your work makeup, and I could just learn it by rote. It looked great, and I didn't have to have this thing every week of like, is this enough? Okay, that'll do. It's also like, make it sustainable. Don't make the bar too high. I don't think I've mentioned on here some accommodations that I've found to help with work. Bear in mind it's just a wee little ditty shift in the afternoon 1 day a week, not itty bitty ditty for me. And as I think I mentioned, it's the drive, which I just saw on Instagram. Someone suggests putting like wedging yoga blocks either side of you to like smush you in and hold you up, and then it also give you like some elbow rests. Need to get some yoga blocks to try that out. Anyway, I've been taking a route on the way there that maybe is 5 minutes longer, 5-10 minutes longer, but is so much more relaxing. And then on the way back, I just want to get home, so I just suck it up and take the busy arterials, as they're called. Compression has been huge. I put eye drops in before I go in. Need to work on my technique because it always makes me look like I'm crying, but that helps. It's helped that I'm having more sit-down tasks while I'm there. I bring a snack, like a really nice reward snack to munch on the drive home. I bought these nighttime driving sunnies. They're called Night Rider, and they just sort of block out the headlights. I'm still trialing them though because it's such a trippy thing, and you can like tilt your head slightly and make them kick in or not, but it's an adjustment, so just know that like doesn't immediately feel like super duper safe or like, yeah, a safety improvement. I'm still figuring those out. I finally have my own like lanyard with a pass on it so I can use the loo without using someone else's, and reminding myself to go pee before the drive home. Like I can't really tell what my body needs when I'm working. It's really hard, but that's one contributing easy factor to make my body like hold less tension. They're giving me more sit down tasks to do while I'm there, which is awesome. I can be a bit yappy with the one colleague, and I need to remind myself that I don't need to like create a good vibe here. Like that's not my job. Cataloging or contacting books or like doing something in front of me, and that's my job, you know. Like if I want to ask a question, sure, but like can just get a bit like what's the next interesting thing I can say, and it feels weird to like hold back on that, but I think that's an energy saver. That's all I can think of. Thank you so much, Radical Yes, for these beautiful shoes. I feel so special and lucky, and I bloody love them, and I know I will treasure them for years to come. Okay, see you tomorrow.
Way away, nothing to show and no place to go. So here in my room I stay. I don't know that I could forget you, no matter how hard I try.
Morning all, it's a few days later. I've been really struggling with my health this week. I'm not really going to go into that, apart from saying I really hope a sizable portion of it can be attributed to anticipatory stress for this placement. I guess we shall see. Anyway, it's the weekend. I have some muffins in the oven. I'm going to get a coffee with a friend later at this cafe that overlooks a park. I really appreciate cafes like that are more location based rather than like in a strip of shops. Because even if the cafe is bustling, the surrounding botanic garden, park, reserve, whatever it is, seems to balance out the energy. And I love a cafe where you can like sit on a deck and there's like the plastic and there's the heaters in winter. The clothes I got at op shops last weekend have been washed and are dried, so I can now show you. Starting off boring but practical, I got these black corduroy pants which I just actually took up this morning. I was going to add lace to the bottom for a bit of flair, but I thought, look, if that catches on something mid-placement, that's just going to be annoying. Let's just keep them functional and durable. These two pieces were the ones I was most excited about. They don't go together, but I put them together. The shirt is this boxy Liberty fabric, kind of 70s cool shape situation. And then this brown vest, I love a vest. I love layering them, and they're probably one of the pieces that I would wear like in professional outfits, but also casual stuff that feels like me. It isn't good quality, this one. It's from Shein, whatever that freaking brand is. But how librarian coded is this combination? And I think this is the perfect level of like profesh smart at the public library. Then I got this 100% cashmere little cardi that doesn't close, so no accentuating the boobies. It does have a small hole in it, but I have thread and I will just patch that up. I got this blue jumper because I really liked the neckline. It is a bit longer than something I would wear, so this might be another exploration in hemming knits, which has been a bit hit and miss for me, but whatever. And then lastly, I've already been wearing this a bunch with my striped green pajamas. It's just a boxy hoodie, which really grabbed my attention because it looks like the best blank slate for a applique project. Sardines are coming to mind, maybe like a crocodile, but it's really cozy and I'm excited to personalize that. It is now the Sunday before my placement starts tomorrow. I didn't film much this week because it wasn't very interesting. I've been stressing about not being well enough to do the placement. I'm in a good enough place today and I really just want it to begin at this point. One thing that was really getting me down last week is I had a massive eczema flare on my hands of, is it dihydrotic eczema? The little bubbles that rise to the surface. It is so itchy, painful, distracting, distressing. Couldn't engage in things that have a positive impact on my mental health, like cooking and sewing and even petting your dog's not that fun. I was really desperate, so I did use topical steroid cream for 3 days and it really came down. I was particularly concerned because this happened in 2017 and I figured out that gluten was the thing that kept bringing it back. I didn't think I'd accidentally eaten gluten. I'm pretty versed in what goes into my body. Usually I catch things like that, or heaven forbid like a nickel thing, because don't get started. Anyway, it hasn't come back. I'm so thrilled to bits because you handle a lot of books in libraries. That's a really drying thing. Yeah, I just want my hands, you know? So my naturopath and I's thinking is that it was a barrier issue, and I definitely had been using a lot of, by chance, like a lot more harsher detergents in the last few months. Accidentally used a Dr. Bronner's soap that my mum bought without realising it was 4 times strength and needed to be diluted. And I also have been finding that soaps and like body washes with colloidal oats, like essentially gluten, maybe my eczema-prone skin doesn't really like, even though it's in a lot of products that are advertised for dry sensitive skin, which it is because it's a great emollient, but just not great if you're maybe allergic to oats. So I switched all those out, switched to this sensitive fragrance-free hand wash, which is like jelly. It is so non-stripping. It's awesome. And I've been using the La Roche-Posay Cica Plus hand balm, and oh my god, my hands are really happy. So that's been making me feel a lot better because it was just the cherry on top of like, oh my god. And the other day when I was talking skincare and then I put makeup on before I went to my library shift, it was so sunny that day that driving in the car for like 50 minutes meant that when I arrived, it looked like it was literally melting off my face, and it was just gross. So I had my eye on the Air Perez. It's like an all cover pot, they call it. You can use it as a concealer, foundation. It's kind of like skincare makeup, and it sets and it's really calming on skin. And I'm so happy with this purchase because I can just use a lot less product and it actually sets. And when I wore it to work this week, I did not look like my face was melting off. I think I'm entering the era of my life where, yeah, I realised that more expensive skincare makeup really is that much better. I successfully took up this jumper. I use this double-sided interfacing, which is sold as hemming tape, and you iron it, it sticks fabric together, and it means for knit fabric when you sew over the top, the fibres aren't stretching as they're fed under the little feed dog or whatever it's called. Huge, because like this jumper totally stretched when I took it up. I mean, it's busy, I don't really care, I still like the jumper. Yeah, to have a much neater finish, I've laid out my outfits for this week, decided what like chill lunch I'm gonna have. It's probably gonna be like an egg salad sandwich with like lots of rocket. Yeah, I'm like as ready as I can be, and what will be will be. I'll see you on the other side. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.